What's up, everybody? You already know who it is. It's Drip God Daryl, and I'm back at you guys with another banger. So, in today's video, we will be talking about what's next for the Golden State Warriors. Now, this was a viewer requested video. A couple of days ago, I put up a poll asking you guys what team you wanted to see for the What's Next video, and y'all voted on the Golden State Warriors. So your wish is my command. And hey man, before we do hop into this video, I'm gonna shout all you guys out for all the support that you've been showing on the videos. Y'all went crazy on that Kawhi Leonard video yesterday, and man, I really appreciate it. But without further ado, let's switch over to the topic. All right, what's next for the Golden State Warriors? Now, to figure out what's next with a team, you have to start off with the year prior. So we will do a brief recap on what happened in the 2023-2024 year for the Golden State Warriors. So overall, the Golden State Warriors, they had a disappointing year by their standards. Now, their record was 46-36, which is a net positive record, but just because of how competitive the Western Conference is, they finished 10th in the Western Conference. Now, over this year, there were a lot of highs and lows when it comes to this team. And to just, emphasize those highs and lows, I will go over some of the stats for the different players and the different highlights for the different players. All right, so to start off, let's talk about the best player on the team, Steph Curry. And in this year, he did average 26 points per game. He averaged 5 assists per game and 4 rebounds per game. Now, as usual, he shot fairly efficient from the 3 at 40% on down near 12 attempts per game. Now, his field goal percentage, it was 45%, which is slightly lower than average for him. But let's be real, he was 35 years old at this point. And hey, man, he was really the main focal point on the team offensively. Let's talk about a player that has recently left the team, and Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson, he averaged 18 points per game. And when it came to assists and rebounds, he had 2 assists per game and 3 rebounds. Now, when it came to his efficiency, it was a lot to be wanted in that field. He only shot 43% from the field, but when it came to his 3, he still was hitting. He still was wet like water, like Cash Nasty used to say, man. He shot 38% from 3, so he still was hitting there, but it was a lot of lows when it comes to that year for Klay Thompson, especially defensively. He definitely lost a step. But let's talk about a high, and that was actually Draymond Green. Draymond Green, he kind of revitalized his career this year. And I don't mean it from a points aspect, because as we know, Draymond Green, he's never been a player that scores a lot of points, but it was more so just the defensive aspect and just him facilitating and just playing all around good basketball. So this year, he did average 8 points per game. Like I said, that won't jump off the fence. But when it comes to his assists, he averaged 6 assists per game, which is nice. He averaged 6 assists per game. He averaged 7 rebounds per game. And when it came to his field goal percentages, those were even good at 49% from the field and 39% from 3. So overall, good year. Let's talk about a down, man. A down will be Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins, he kind of had a down year. He averaged 13 points per game. With those 13 points per game, he shot 45% from the field and 35% from 3. So overall, lackluster season. His free throw percentage was 75% too, which is bad, and overall just a down year. Some other a high spot I do want to bring up is Jonathan Kuminga. Jonathan Kuminga at 21 years old, balled out that season, man. That season he averaged 16 points per game, and the efficiency was okay. Well, it was actually pretty good. He pretty much had the highest efficiency on the team when it comes to, the man rotation players, man. So he actually shot 52% from the field, which is great. And his 3-point percentage, it was 32%, but he could always work on that. He was never a great 3-point shooter, but you do see signs of some upside when it comes to that. So overall, great year for Jonathan Kuminga, man. Definitely a great year for him. Besides that, some other noteworthy players that I can just shout out is Brandon Podminsky. So he had a pretty solid year. He's only a rookie at 20 years old, but he shot fairly effectively, 38% from three and 45% from the field. I like the field goal percentage should be up a little more, but overall, great year for him, man. But with all that being said, with me breaking down all of these players and their stats, let's talk about what's next for this team. All right, so we got switched over, as you guys can see. And right here, I do have the Golden State Warriors salary for the 2024-2025 season. So this is their salary, their projected salary for this upcoming season. And what's next for this team? Now, keep in mind they have already made a couple of moves that really are explaining what's next for this team. The first move they did was they let Klay Thompson walk, man. Klay Thompson got dealt over to the Mavericks in a sign and trade deal. So with that being said, they have moved on from Klay Thompson. And that does bring a real good question on, is it time to move on from that trio? The, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green trio. Now, they done already kind of moved on from it by letting Klay Thompson walk, but should they let Draymond Green walk? That's the real question now. Or should they trade him, to be more specific? But let's take a look at the payroll. They're 9th in payroll projected for the 2024-2025 season. Y'all know the different player option, team option, qualifying offer, and two-way contract. Y'all see the different colors for those. And let's scroll down and let's read into it. Let's see what these players are getting paid. So, Steph Curry, he is getting paid the most, of course, and he getting paid crazy money, $55 million a game. But he definitely a player that is worth it. He's a generational talent, so I'm not hating. I'm not mad at it. Andrew Wiggins, he locked in for the next pretty much 2 seasons, and hey, man, he getting paid around 28 to 30 million. So he getting paid a nice amount. Same with Draymond, he locked in for the next 2 seasons, getting paid around the $25 million amount. And besides that, you see a lot of one-way contracts. They did just get DeAnthony Melton. He a solid backup point guard. I like that. They got Gary Payton, solid defender, kind of smaller, undersized, but still solid. They got Kyle Anderson. He cool. He decent. But the biggest signing that I do like is that they got Buddy Hield on a nice contract for pretty much $10 million for the next 3 years, which is nice. Because one thing that I do think this team needs a lot is shooting. I feel like that's the most important thing when it comes to this team, shooting. But anyways, let's continue on. Kevon Looney, he locked in for this his final year, okay. Jonathan Kuminga locked in for one more year after this one. Same with Moses Moody. And then you got a couple of their rookies. But let's talk about what's next for this team. What I feel like is next for this team is that, number one, you have to determine if you do want to fully move on from this big three. Now, what I mean by that is that, like I said before, they already let Klay Thompson walk. And with them letting Klay Thompson walk, it's either you want to be fully in or fully out. Now, I'm not saying trade Steph Curry because he's the focal point on the team. I would never trade Steph Curry if I'm the Golden State Warriors. But what I am saying is you need to make that decision on Draymond. Draymond, he had him a solid year. You could get a lot more value out of Draymond due to him having a solid year. He's still only 33 years old, so it's not like he's super old. Klay Thompson is actually older than Draymond, which is crazy when you just look at it. You know, Draymond, he got all the grades. He looking like life done hit him. But, hey, anyways, back to the point. Draymond, you could get some value out of him, in my opinion, in the trade market just because he is locked in for 2 more seasons. So it's not like it's just going to be a one and done for the team that does acquire him. And he had a solid season all overall, you know, when it came to the passing, when it came to the shooting, just everything. So, number one, I say you got to choose if you're fully in on moving past this big three and just locking in on Steph, or if you do just want to stick with Draymond. Number two, the second most important thing is that, man, you got to have these young players continue to improve. You seen Jonathan Kuminga improve, which is nice, 16 points per game. You got to keep him improving. Other players like Moses Moody, you got to really see some more out of him because, in my opinion, out of the younger players, he's the player that you really got to have a big eye on if you want to, you know, let you move forward without him. Brandon Podzinski, he played nice, and you just want him to keep improving. So that's number two. Number three, I would say is go all in for Lauri Markkanen. Now, the reason I say that is just because they got a decent team overall. You know, Buddy Hield, Steph Curry. But at the same time, I do think that they need a little more shooting besides just Buddy Hield and Steph Curry. And why not add Lauri Markkanen to that team, man? Imagine Buddy Hield, Steph Curry, and Lauri Markkanen. You having, you know, 3-point threats from 3 different positions. Me personally, just to switch back over, what I would try to do is I would try to pretty much flip Draymond Green for Lauri Markkanen. Now, I know the salaries do not match up. As you guys can see, Lauri Markkanen, this is his salary. He's only making $18 million for this next season, and then he's out of there. But what I would try to do is I would try to, you know, put Draymond Green on the block along with some first-round draft picks. I know that's steep if you're a Golden State Warriors fan, but hey, I think it's worth it. You know, of course, the Utah Jazz, they would have to add a couple of salary pieces to make the money match up, but I think that's the move right there. I think that's the move. If you have to trade a couple of younger players, you might have to do that, man. I might be ready to move on from Moses Moody. Of course, they may ask for Jonathan Kuminga. So you probably have to pair up Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and, you know, probably, an eye player. But, hey, for Lauri Markkanen, is it worth it? I think it might be worth it. I might throw in, I might do a Gary Payton II, a Jonathan Kuminga, and, just some salary or some cash filler and a first-round pick for Lauri Markkanen. I think it might be worth it. But, hey, man, that's just my thoughts on what's next for this Golden State Warriors team. If y'all enjoyed the video, y'all already know what to do. Like the motherfucking video, comment on the motherfucking video, subscribe to the motherfucking channel. Road to 1,000 subscribers, and I'm out. Peace.